the webinar from the beginning so that the recording can be okay. Fine. Thank you. Okay. Good day to one and all. This is Dr. Sivaraman of iknowindices.com. I'll be presenting the Asian Session Live Market Analysis and the Forecast webinar for this week 4th to 8th of April. Today we are on 4th of April between 5 and 5:30 GMT. I will try to explain to you the expected market moves. The expected market moves for the week, and later on I'll explain to you in the range in which the currencies are expected to swing during the day. And also I will explain to you about the market reading and the trading strategies. My contact details are, my email ID is dr@i-knowindices.com and my Skype chat ID is iknowindices@hotmail.com. My website address is i-knowindices.com. If you've got any doubt, you can just send me the mails, then I will be able to continue, answering to your questions. Okay. Now let me The webinar consists of the three components, namely the derived forecast for this week, and also you come across the range in which the currencies are expected to swing, besides market reading and live market analysis using the live market code page, and also the initial lows and the highs which are set around 3:30 GMT. Then also briefly I'll touch upon the trading strategy, how exactly we'll be able to handle the market depending upon the type of moves they are doing it. Now this is the slide explaining the expected market moves for this week. So we are in first week of April. So the month beginning is over by 1st of April. That is, the monthly trend reversal is over in 1 week, wherein the month of March got over and the new month April started. Then from this week onwards, the trending move is expected to happen in the market, and they are expected to make the swing and rise moves during this particular week as well as next week. So what are the expected moves in this time frame? Now, during that of the Japanese session, they are expected to make the swing and slide in the case of Euro and GBP, and then they are expected to make the swing and rise during that of the European session. And swing and form up moves could be seen during that of the US session. Then tomorrow, they are expected to make the swing and slide during Japanese, and swing and rise and form up move during that of the European and the US session. Then Wednesday, market is expected to make the swing and firm up, swing and rise, and then dip, a small dip during the start of the US session, and then continue the rise. Then you will come across the market is expected to make further rise in the case of Euro and GBP, and also in the case of USD and USD CHF as a contrarian move. Then on Thursday, they are expected to make the slide during the Japanese session and then rise during the European and the US sessions. Then on Friday, you could come across the rise during that of the Japanese session, followed by that of a quick rise and a slide during that of the European session, just as a profit booking move. And then they are expected to continue the swing and rise move during that of the Friday US session for the weekend. So in the market, if the players need to make money, when they make the market appear bullish and then continue to rise, what will happen? and everybody will take the buy position and wait for the market to make further rise. In the event if the players rise more, will the traders come and buy? No. What they will do? They will try to book profit with regard to their buy positions. So the players will be the loser and the traders will be the gainers. So that is not the objective of the players. The players wanted to fool the traders and then earn consistently. Normally, in any situation, people might be fooled or cheated once. Then later on, they become habituated. They understand, okay, if situation happen like this, then immediately there might be a trap, so we will avoid such traps. Suppose when you walk along in that dark area, then somebody mugged you. Then later on the news spread. Then you avoid walking along that of the dark area in the nights. Similarly, suppose you boil the milk and give it to the cat. The cat just try to drink the milk because of hunger level and later on find that it is very hot. It will avoid drinking the milk. Then subsequently when you give the cold milk also, the cat does not drink it because of the registered information in the brain that the milk might be hot. So you find that people learn out of experiences. But in the market, people do not learn out of experiences. This is a very unfortunate situation. What happens that the traders follow the technicals and fundamentals and find that, okay, the market moves can be understood based on that. And later on, they commit to positions and lose money. And then they think that, okay, no, technical can help only certain extent. We have to combine the fundamentals. They combine it and develop a system and find that, again, they are trapped and they are not shown any progress. Then they try to explore all the possibilities how to make money from that other market. In the process, they have no other option than that of the technicals and fundamentals, but they fail to read the intentions of the players. And also they do not know the time frame in which the currencies are expected to make the upward or the downward moves. So ultimately, what is more important in the market is, it is not the question of trying to learn the sophisticated technical and fundamental analysis. It is a question of reading the intentions of the players who are manipulating the market. They facilitate the market to make up and down move, and they try to create the situation. People feel that, okay, market is oversold, it might go up, then they start rising it. Then people think that, okay, market is making a rise, we will try to enter into the market, and later on find that technically the market is overbought and it drops. Then the traders are not in a position to find which one to follow, the technicals or the fundamentals. Some give that interpretations that I follow predominantly technicals, I just least bother about the fundamentals. Certain other people say that no, I follow only the fundamentals, and also Elliot's wave, I look into the other waves. So here you find all become preachers, and ultimately they don't have that absolute confidence in making money from that other market. And that is why whenever they give that information to that of the traders, you find invariably the uncertainty prevails in their talks. So ultimately what is important is, when there is an uncertainty, then obviously any sudden move happens in the market will become a surprise. Then that will give the market fear. And so you find the analyst and also the experts, etc., they talk with the hidden fear in the mind. So as long as the fear is there to grip the mind, you find the uncertainty can continue to play a vital role, and thereby the traders can go in for a distress trade, and then you find invariably profit making chances gets reduced out of fear and distress trades. Now this is the level, or these are all the levels in which the currencies are expected to swing during this particular week. Euro is expected to swing from that 1.1350 to 1.1675 area, and today's levels are mentioned. And here you find that 1.1383 has been shown. They just made a dip for about 5 pips and started going up. And in the case of GBP, 1.4216 is the low. The low could be mathematically derived low could be 1.4200, and 1.4675 could be the high. So there is a still upward shift in trading zone. And USD yen 111.50 could be the low, and they come up to that of 111.32, and then slowly gaining it, and the high could be 116.25 in this particular week. And in the case of CHF, they just came down to 95 area, and again they are expected to make an upward shift in trading zone in the case of CHF, along with that of Euro. So as a result, you will come across Euro CHF is also expected to gain the levels. So Euro might be showing the USD weakening move, CHF might be showing the USD gaining move. And in the case of Canadian dollar, again, they are expected to make the USD gaining move slowly. They are expected to swing around 1.30 and just make brief downward stop and then start gaining to 1.3275 area. And in the case of Australian dollar, from there of 0.76, they are expected to go to 0.79 area. If we carefully watch that Aussie, from there of 0.78, it has come to that of 0.79 area, 77 area. So slowly they have gained the levels. So this is how they are expected to gain the levels in the case of commodity pairs as leaves in the market. So normally I call it as a commodity pairs lead the market and lag behind. And you know that in the case of Canadian dollar, it came to 1.4142 level. From there, they had dropped it to 1.28. This is what they do in the market. They stretch the rise, they stretch the drop in order to create the panicness and the change in the mindset of the traders. That the traders will think that US dollar is going to be the king forever. But ultimately, I call it as a sleeping giant. So once in a while, the players make the US dollar very, very strong. Then afterwards, it will go back to that of sleep. And then all other majors will continue to gain the levels. This is what they do it every time. And if we don't understand, that means we think that it is a God-made market. So the collective actions of the traders are making the moves. And you know that when the non-farm payroll is going to be announced, everybody is afraid and sitting on the wall to find out whether we have to jump it on the sell side or on the buy side. But at that time, the market suddenly makes very quick moves. And who is making that move? Who has got the courage to rise the markets quickly as soon as the data is released? And how exactly it drops suddenly. So easily tug between the bulls and the bears. If that is the case, who is going to win? And when they are taking such huge positions, they'll be losing their shirt in no time. When the bulls are rising and the bears are crushing the market, then both will lose their shirt. And they cannot continue to remain in the market because they will be losers, surprisingly. And when they lose once, they will not make a big bet in the market. They will not continue to bet huge money in the market because the greater the investment or the greater the bet, the greater the risk. They know very well. If they bet $1 billion, if they lose, they will straight away lose $1 billion. Can any human being can afford to do that sort of trades? So if somebody says that it is a fight between the bulls and the bears, that means they are trying to cheat themselves. But actually, it is the same people who just drop the market and buy and quickly rise. And when the traders jump into that of the running bus, they immediately drop. So this is how they trap the traders and then try to earn money from that other market. We need to understand that. It's a high time that people understand how exactly the market is being manipulated. Then coming to that other market reading, I just noted down the initial lows and the highs at around 3:30 GMT today, and we can compare it with that of the live market code page. Here in the case of Euro, 1.1388 was the high, low, and they just breached it by 3 pips and started gaining it. So a brief downward stop and then started gaining. In the case of GBP, 1.4216 is the low. They are not breached. It came down closer to that. They might try to take stops around that by 1 or 2 pips and then start gaining the level. The high is not being breached. And the case of yen, 111.32 is the low. They just sit and subsequently they are not breached slowly. They are consolidating there to gain the levels. Normally they make the week beginning false move on Monday, so be careful. And they are expected to make the move against that of what they intend to do it during the rest of the days of the week. So when they are making a drop or just make sideways downward move, understand that they wanted to gain the levels later on, and which is already shown in the case of Australian dollar. They made that slide. And in the case of CHF, 0.9572 is the low, 9593 is the high. They just breached the high by 1 pip and oscillating there. And in the case of Canadian dollar, 1.3022 is the initial low, and 1.3045 was the initial high. They just breached the high and went up to 1.3054 and slide to trying to come down. So they are making the wide range swings to slowly increase the spread between the initial lows and the highs and try to trap either way or induce the traders to commit both the sell as well as the buy positions. Normally, the tendency of the trader will be after the drop, they will try to take a sell. After the rise, they will try to take a buy in the name of technical trades. And later on, you find or a breakout trade, and later on they find they are stopped out. In the case of Australian dollar, 0.7636 was the low. They came down to 7625 and come above. So above that 7636, it shows that they made a brief downward stop and holding closer to the low. 0.7679 is the high, which is not breached. Now the recommended trades for today, I just kept the buy limit order 1.1388, the initial low with 30 pips take profit order and 30 pips below the hedge order. And now that has become a position. So this has become a position, whereas GBP still it is not being filled. I kept the buy limit near that of the low and kept 30 pips take profit order and 30 pips below the sell stop. So these two are the recommended trades for today. Now you know that in Europe as well as US, you find the daylight saving system is on. So as a result, the session timings are being changed. So the changed session times, I explained it last week, and they continue to be the same till coming October. So you can make a note of it. Early in the late sessions, they handle the majors, and the mid sessions, they handle the crosses. Gap time, they make the false moves. Now let me answer to the questions which are asked here. And sorry for the interruption in the webinar, and there are some technical issue. I'll try to go earlier and find out what are the questions asked. I'll try to answer those questions also. How do you see GBBN? GBBN, they are just holding it lower and they are expected to make a brief dip, come closer to low, and then start gaining the levels. Anyhow, this webinar is being recorded, and those who missed it can follow it by listening to that other webinar. Okay, what could be the levels of Euro GBP? Euro GBP is expected to make an upward move to start with, and later on they are expected to make the downward move. And so in that process, GBP will gain more when compared to that of Euro. So you know that on Friday, they just made GBP drop and Euro was holding it. As a result, you find that Euro GBP cross came up to 0.80. Okay, they could go up to 0.8050 and then start making the slide. And then in that process, you will find GBP to gain more and Euro to make the slide to start with, and later on they will gain in both the currencies. But GBP is expected to gain more momentum in the coming days. So Euro GBP could go to 0.8050 or with an upward stop and then come down to 0.78 area. What could be the long-term trend of New Zealand dollar? New Zealand dollar trend is up and is expected to make further rise along with that of Australian dollar. Is there any other question? So that I'll wind up the webinar. Okay, no question is asked. Okay, so sorry for the inconvenience during the early part of the webinar. Anyhow, we have done the fresh recording and I answered most of the questions which are asked here. The market is expected to make swing and gain moves in coming days of this particular month. So watch for the dips to make buys and use the hedge order to limit the risk. And once the position makes profit, keep stop at entry and remove the hedge order and make it as a position trade. During this trending time, you can do the position trade by holding the position which are taken at the lowest level during the week beginning false move time. So I'll come back next week on 11th of April and try to give the forecast for the next week. So thanks for your patience and listening, and thanks for the help extended by Adinda and also FX Street team. See you on Monday. Wish you all happy trading.